Hi John, Paul Cheney here for CA2 and distributed programming. I actually got it done earlier than I expected. I'm done on a Sunday instead of Tuesday. Anyway, the system I developed is again based on the code you have up on Moodle, the RMLE messaging system version 2. I obviously just altered it to my own needs. Now the main extra class I created was the SQL statements and the database connection class. Now these two are pretty much exactly the same as the methods, as the SQL statements I submitted in CA1, which is, as you can see here, it's pretty much just a copy and paste job because the code itself doesn't need to change. Now the system itself as well is exactly the same as the CA1. It's pretty much laid out the same. It's done the same, except obviously I'm using RMI this time. This will load. I'll just give you a quick demo of it. Now, here we go. So, obviously, the registry has to create a port at 8000. I run the client app and it'll obviously connect. Well, hopefully, it'll connect. That's the aim, anyway. Anyway, as you can see here, the menu is exactly the same now as CA1, and the system pretty much runs exactly the same as CA1. So, if I want to log in, I log in, I enter my username. In this case, I already have a few usernames created on the database, so I'm going to be able to create this. So that username exists, so it loads. You'll have to just, sorry, I'll have this out for submitting the actual project. This is just testing. I was created, I haven't taken it out yet, and this is just a simple little mistake. Anyway, yeah, I can do whatever I want. If I click on 3, I can view all the received messages. As you can see here, I have messages again. You'll just have to forgive these. This here, these are all just test strings I have being executed as I do this. I'll take them all out before I submit it. And we want to view all sent messages. There we go. As you can see, they're actually different messages. There's 4 messages in this one instead of just 2 because I've sent more than I've received. Clearly. Then if I want to search, give us 1 second, I just see who has sent me a message. Okay, sender John. Okay, John sent me a message. So if I search, please enter the name of the sender. So I hit John, and sure enough, the message that John has sent me is returned, and only the message that John has sent me. So the search function works, receive function works, send function works, delete also works. So if I want to delete, it gives me the option. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes, I want to delete, and it deleted. So if I want to view all received messages, I get an error just saying sorry, you have not received messages because I just deleted it. Now the one thing I will say about this is view all unread messages does not work, and I just can't figure it out. It's set up in the same way as all the others. It actually executes the data query as well. So basically, if you press this, it's supposed to send back an unread message, and then it's supposed to change that unread message to a read message so it won't appear here again. But this will actually go into the database. It'll change it from unread to read, but I just can't figure it out. It just won't send back the information. So although it won't work, it is only a minor error because of the fact that it does go to the server. It does execute the database query. It does execute all the changes recorded in the database. It just for some reason doesn't send the information back correctly. Now, I'm sure it's just something small I've missed, etc., etc. But it doesn't work properly. So I hope you forgive me about this. Anyway, the send message. If I want to send a message, enter recipient. So I'll enter in Una. Enter message. I'll enter in hello, testing this system, and I'll send it. And then it asks me again, do I wish to add another message? Anyway, now as you can remember, this is actually exactly the same as CA1, except now I'm using RMI. So this works anyway. I'll send another one. Yes, I do. So enter recipient. I'll send another one to Una. Enter message. The second test. And I'll send that. And do you want to add another one? No, I do not. So I'm back to the main menu again. And if I say exit, so exit, and then I'm back in the login menu. Now I don't actually know if Una exists in the database, but I'll try at the moment. Una and password test. Okay, sorry, but the username or password is incorrect, so that user doesn't actually exist. So I will register Una, and then I'll enter the password as test, and successfully registered again. Sorry about all this, it's just test code. I'll obviously remove all this for the code, for the final submission, sorry. So now I'll log in using that name Una and test. So I've just logged in, and now I want to view all received messages. So Paul, whatever, there, and there was the test. Hello, I'm testing the system, and this is the second test. There, the 2 messages I've just sent. So as you can see, that does work. Also, you'll have to forget this last message. It's something I sent earlier on. I just never removed it from the database. And again, if I want to search, I'll enter in Paul, and it returns. In this case, it actually returns the same messages because in this case, the sender is Paul in every single situation. And then I delete the messages. Yes, I want to delete them. And then, as you can see, sorry, but you have not received messages. So that's pretty much the system itself. The send works, the search works, view all received works. View all unread has a minor error, but I just can't figure that out, to be honest. View all sent works. Delete all received works also. And exit, as you can see, when I exited from Paul, it also works. Now, testing. So in this, I tested every single input I could, and tried to work around the errors. Now I can't test for strings when there shouldn't be. For example, if I run this and enter, it's going to give me an error. I haven't caught any exceptions. I'm just going to pause this and run another client so you don't have to sit through all the loading. And here we go, we have another client up. So we also have a login. I have testing login, so if I enter someone that doesn't exist, I get the error that password or username is incorrect. Also, if I try to register a second person, so if I try to register myself again, it'll give me an error. Sorry, but the user already exists. Please try again with another name. Again, this is just test code here, so please just ignore this for now. I'll get rid of that before I submit it. So this is the error message that's output here. As I said, I've tested every single command that I can enter. So I've tested if I send numbers, and it just it's gonna obviously it's gonna send that as a string. So it's in the database, it's gonna have a message registered 24234. Now, obviously it's not what I intended to do here, but it does in that sense take care of it. So any string messages can handle numbers as a string. Do I want it? No, I don't. So then if I search for a number, again, it just takes in a string and it says sorry, but you have no search results. So if I search for somebody that doesn't exist, test, it's just going to return a message saying I have no search results. So I've tested all these. I've pretty much tested every single feature to make sure that there's no stupid errors, like if you enter someone that doesn't exist, something won't happen. Like if I view all unread, sorry, but you have no unread messages. So I've basically caught the error that doesn't display information, and I've just displayed this now. Sadly, I will get this unread messages error every single time due to the fact that it's just not returning information. Now, if I enter a string here, I've tested it to make sure, see what happens, and as you can see, it doesn't work. So I'm going to load up another. I'm going to pause it and load up another. And oh yeah, also I forgot to mention the storage. The storage of the actual information is done on the database. So as you can see in the server app, all the queries that the user sends to the server, it's no, sorry, that's not actually it. That one, don't use that one anymore. Sorry, where are you going? Yeah, there we go. As you can see, all the queries are done using the database. So yeah, I couldn't manage that delete, it seems. Anyway, well, I can get rid of all that later. For now, I'm just demoing this. Yeah, as you can see here, all the queries are done. All the queries are done using database tables. Now, I'm actually going to try to speed this up because of the fact that I only have 5 minutes left in this recording. So the understanding of the RMI, basically, I go into I'll just give you the login menu, for example, as as a an example. The rest works pretty much exactly the same, just to show that I can actually understand it. So this is all my menus. Basically, it's just doing inserting the messages, etc., etc. Where is remote object login? Okay, there we go. So if we choose to log in, we're entering at the start menu, as you can see here, login. What it's doing is it's taking in the username and password, and it's doing the remote object .login, and it's calling that, which is a message interface method. The remote object is a message interface object that I created up above. But anyway, it's calling the login. It's passing in the username and the password, which is taken from the client. Passing it into the interface, which is just saying login, which is here, do this, etc. And then the implementation itself is where this is done. Literally all it does in this case is in the login basically says the server.login, which above here, like the remote object, it's just declared as a server app here. So the server app, the server, and then I'm calling the message, the method, sorry, from the server app class. So in login, it's just the server.login, which is a method in the server app class, and I'm passing in the information that the client has sent in. So then I go to the server app, and I find the login method, and there we go. As you can see here, it just takes in the username and the password that the client has sent me, and then I'm basically saying int logged in into SQL login, etc., etc. So basically what this SQL statement does is basically returns an int of 0 if the user doesn't exist, or 1 if the user does exist. So I'm just setting this as in 0 and 1. Now, what I'm doing then is I'm creating a new client for the client that registered, and I'm calling the login method from the client. So this is a client callback interface client, and then I'm just calling the login method from the client interface, and I'm passing in an integer. So if I go into the client interface, again, login is just taking in the integer, and then if I go to the implementation, it's just a method that's basically calling the app.login. This is all the testing code that I've told you about. I just put it all in here just to see if it was calling properly. Anyway, yeah, so then it's calling the app, which is declared up here as a client app, the app. So then I'm calling a method in the client app, which is, there we go, the client app, and then I'm going to the login. There we go. As you can see here, at the top of the class, I have a load of global variables. One of them is the logged in message. So then this is the integer I've gotten from the server, depending on if the SQL statement from the username and password I've sent from here to the server. It's gotten this, it's worked it out to see if it exists or not, and it's returned 0 or 1. So I'm basically setting it here, logged in equal to that, and then if I search for logged in, after this, so this login is passing them back. It's saying do this, pass back this integer if it exists, so it's passing it back to the client interface. The client interface is calling the login menu from method, from this class, which is setting the logged in integer to 0 or 1, and then I'm basically saying if logged in is 1, call the main menu, which is it's basically just another layout, and I'm passing in the remote object in the client interface so I can do more work with that. So that's basically justification of RMIs. It's basically taking the information here, send it to the interface, which sends it to the server, which does whatever it needs to do with the information. Then it calls the client information and sends back whatever information that needs to send back, which then calls a client app method, which does whatever you need to do with that information. That's how RMIs work. Now, RMIs is extremely useful in the sense that you don't need to set up multi-threads. It's automatically done for you, things like that. In sockets, you need to set up multi-threaded. As well as that, it helps it helps compress all the information instead of one. If you look at the RMI, which is the socket, which is this one, you basically just have loads and loads of if statements, and they're executing different things. Each if statement is doing that, but in the client, in the RMI, you're just taking in information and you're passing it back to the server, which does all the queries, and then it sends it back the information. So it's very broken up that way. You don't have massive if-else statements, and that. As well as that, I think RMI is much better in sockets because I feel that it's much more secure because all the code is hidden behind interfaces. So the actual client cannot see any of the methods, can't see what's being passed back. Whereas in sockets, it's very easy to see exactly what's happening. So you can pass back wrong information or stuff like that. So in my opinion, I do think RMI, although slightly harder to implement, is better than sockets because it's secure. And even though it's a bit slower due to the whole registry and setting up all the objects and etc., etc., I do think it's better overall. Now, I only have actually 20 seconds left, so I'm going to end it here. But if you could do me a favor, John, have a look over this, and if I fail in the testing or the justification or explanation, could you please just email me back and let me know, and possibly just give me a chance to do an extra bit of a screencast just to explain those a bit better. Anyway, 5 seconds left. Thanks very much, John. Take care. Sorry about the long screencast.